Hello, everyone, and welcome to Balanced Bodybuilding Radio. I am your host, Lee Marie. I am a Glam Girl bikini coach and an NPC bikini competitor, and I am here with my co-host and my coach.
Hey guys, Amy Anger, Glam Girl Bikini Couch and founder and CEO.
Okay, so today we are talking about stress, the good, the bad, the ugly, and we are going to jump right into this episode. And we're going to start with the good. So I don't know if you all knew this, but there is such a thing as good stress, and it can be very
Mhm.
beneficial to us in the right doses, right? So even good stress can turn into bad stress if it becomes chronic, ongoing, or if it becomes too much for us to handle. So not all stress is bad. Some stress in the forms of pressure, like a deadline or a performance, a competition, it can actually help us perform better. So there is something called the Yerkes-Dodson law. Hopefully I'm saying that right, but it suggests that optimal stress levels contribute to improved performance, but only up to a certain point. So good stress,
Mhm.
or it can be called eustress, is what
Useless.
it's called.
Mhm.
And that I believe is Greek. U is Greek for good. I think it's something like that, but it's eustress is the type of stress you feel when you're excited. So let's say you're going up for a speech at work, or you have a project due that you have to present, or you have a competition if you're a competitor. That stress that makes your pulse go up, your hormones are high, you get butterflies in your stomach. Try and think of it more as excitement and adrenaline versus stress, even though it is technically stress. With
And
so physically it can resemble bad stress sometimes, like racing thoughts, keeping you up at night, things like that. But the difference of the two is the physical sensations and how you perceive them, which I thought was really interesting.
yeah, eustress in the bodybuilding world and balanced bodybuilding radio world is, your exercise is a stress on your body, but you feel those endorphins and everything that comes along with it. And over time, if you train too much, it can be bad. So eustress can be good. That stress on your body for exercise can present benefits, but if it's done too long in duration or too often, then it can be bad. Too much of a good thing can be bad, right?
So some positive impacts of good stress is that it
Hmm.
can help you concentrate and focus, and
Yep.
it can encourage you to take on new challenges. It can motivate you to pursue your goals. It can help you feel more resilient in the face of challenges. It can give meaning and purpose to your life, and it can help you feel healthy and happier. And I love that you just made the reference to the gym and working out and training our muscles to that good stress, because I think going to the gym, getting stronger, working out, pushing through those hard things can do all of those things. It can help our concentration. It can encourage us to take on new challenges, motivate us, help us feel resilient, giving us meaning and purpose, and make us feel healthy and happier. So
Hmm.
win-win
Yeah,
there.
cardio and weights can both be stress on the body. So something to keep in mind. Bad stress. So this could be a short term bad, so acute stress, or a long term, which would be chronic, which we'll get to in a minute, but that's kind of the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
So the good, the bad, the ugly. Acute stress doesn't take a heavy toll on your body. It's very temporary. And if you find ways to relax quickly after it, it's just that moment in time. And we have, fight or flight as part of our human nature, and that's to protect us. So there's certain things that can be acute, like a cheetah running after us or a tiger. But that's going to keep us healthy in the long term. So that's a stress that we need, that quick, shoot of adrenaline where we can get away and get to safety.
Mm-hmm.
Chronic stress is when you're just repeatedly facing those stressors and they take a really heavy toll on your body. They can cause negative health side effects like headaches, insomnia, weight gain, anxiety, pain, and high blood pressure. And when I think of chronic stress, I think of just like simple things like So our bodies really can't differentiate between stimuli in terms of, is a tiger chasing us or are we looking at a screen at night? They're all stimulus or stimuli, I guess you would say. So that chronic exposure to just like little things that we think may not really impact us. Maybe it's like stress at work where you're getting like constantly overwhelmed with like simple emails, or your inbox is really full. That can lead to chronic stress. It can be a constant burden that's like constantly compacting. We can find these chronic stressors in our relationships with other people. And our finances can be a really big one that can cause long-term stress. And then just unmanaged health and mental health problems. So, when we're not taking care of our bodies physically and mentally, they're both so important. And any sort of like perceived loss can be also a contributor to chronic stress. So those are kind of like the long-term ones. Did you have anything to add on that one?
I just had a thought because this is Balanced Bodybuilding Radio and a lot of our listeners, you are either a competitor in your improvement season, which means you're thinking towards a prep or maybe headed into a prep. And a prep is a lot of stress. It's physical
Absolutely.
stress. It's stress on your time. It's stress on your budget. It is that, getting on stage stress. Will I be ready stress? And so
dieting stress.
Yes, to diet, to be able to manage that stress is very important. We're going to give you some tips to manage stress, but just think about, as competitors or even as lifestyle clients, if you are going into a weight loss phase, that is a huge stress on your life as well. You have to plan extra things. You have to stick to your diet. You have to say no. You have to develop these disciplines, these new things, new habits. And so you guys are facing two stressors. You have your regular life stresses, work, relationships, finances, family, all those things. Plus you have this stress of weight loss or, prep coming up, improvement season. And so those things are good. You're going to be so glad that you achieved them, but we do need to learn how to manage those as well. So we have some great tips to reduce bad stress. And then just remember, the good stresses, they're going to get you to your goals. They're going to get you where you want to be. But reducing stress as a whole will help you just have the good stress and not the bad stress. So first tip on how to reduce bad stress is to eliminate stress where you can. So trim the edges, learn to say no. Say no to things that are extra, that you're just saying yes to make someone else happy. I'm a chronic people pleaser. So a good habit that I do is, wow, that like when someone asks me something, I'll be like, wow, that sounds really fun. Let me get back to you on that. Let me get back to you tomorrow, or let me get back to you tonight. Then I can actually go to, one of my family members and be like, hey, should I do this? It sounds really fun. And they can be like, you've got way too much on your plate. You do not need to be doing that. And I'll be like, you're right. I don't need to be doing that. So that's a good way to eliminate things, especially favors other people ask you. If it's something you really want to do, go for it. But if it's just going to add stress to your plate, just learn to say no. They'll ask someone else. So that would be my tip.
Yeah, I think setting those boundaries and making sure that you have your sound resolves, like your priorities set, your core values. I think having those prioritized and then taking a moment, like you said, like that sounds like a really cool opportunity. Let me, talk to my husband and I'll get back with you, and see what our family schedule is. Cause for me, like family is very high up on my list in terms of like prioritizing. So it's important for me to give myself like a little bit of a buffer time to figure out, like, can I fit this into my day, or is this going to cause me more stress than it's actually worth? Does it align with my values? So try to focus on things that you can also control. In terms of like, there's so many things out there and variables that are going to happen to you on a day-to-day basis that you can't control. But like, for example, in your prep, you can't control 100% like certain things that happen, like in terms of like how many pounds you lost this week or how many inches, but you can control, like, did I stick to my macros? Did I hit my nutrition like 100%, like prepping my food? Did I execute on getting my number of minutes in the gym and with my cardio and my steps? So try to focus on the process versus the outcome. And that's really going to help you when it comes to certain events and the control that you have over them. And just sticking within your 24 hours rather than trying to like do all the things for like a certain expectation.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So the next one is to think positive thoughts. And I would say this one fits into that category of the situations you can't control, is to
Mm-hmm.
try and think of something positive about that situation. And I have a really great example of this that I learned when I was a kid from my mom, but I think I use it almost daily, at least weekly, and it's with traffic, accidents, or taking a wrong turn or detours. So pretty much anytime you're leaving the house to drive somewhere, you kind of have a timeline in your head. I'm going to get here in this many minutes. And so any sort of traffic delay can be a stress. It can cause anxiety. You might be late. It could just be annoying if you're going home. But if you have the thought of, maybe I missed an accident. So like if I take a wrong exit and get back on, I just think, wow, what if I actually missed an accident by doing that? It changes your whole perspective in like a second. What
I
if,
love that.
yeah, what if you
That's
got
super
stuck in
cool.
traffic? Maybe if you just were delayed by a few minutes, maybe you missed an accident. Real story, when I was in a touring band, we were driving through the Twin Cities, through Minneapolis, and
Mm-hmm.
we stopped for gas. There's a bridge that crosses the Mississippi. We stopped for gas, and um on the no, we stopped for gas on the other side. We were gonna stop for gas, but we crossed the bridge. We stopped at a gas station on the other side, and
Mm-hmm.
literally 10 minutes after we crossed that bridge, it collapsed. There was a huge collapse. It was about 10 years
Wow.
ago. We were literally on that bridge like 10 minutes before, and we could have stopped for gas, but I think we missed our exit, so we kept going. So it's just stuff like that. You never know when fate stepped in, it caused you to take a wrong exit or miss your exit. So if it's
Yeah.
just like that, but using that for just situations you can't control, try to think of something positive that'll flip that switch in your head.
Yeah, I think one that sticks out in my mind is I get to do this. Like, this is a privilege. Prep is a privilege. Number three is get support. So, family, friends, professionals, a therapist, a counselor. Expressing your feelings is so important. And I think mental health is, after like shutdown and all that, it just has escalated so much. And I think people really need that connection more than anything right now. And just talking through issues and problems, it can feel so much better. And you hate to like always like burden like family and friends like with your problems. And sometimes it just feels so refreshing to get things off your chest with just a non-biased party that's like, that's their job, is to just be a therapist, a counselor, talk to them. I know I always feel better whenever I do that.
Mm-hmm. And then just a pro tip, if you're wondering about, should I not? I don't really have huge issues. Do I deserve to go see a therapist? Think about it there. I mean, a therapist, that's their income. That's their business. They want
Mhm.
to get more clients. It's just like coaching. If you feel like, I'm not a competitor, do I deserve to work with a coach? Yes, work with us. We want to work with you as a client. It's what we love to do. It's the same with therapists. Definitely go. I love that. Okay, so next tip is to add relaxation techniques to your everyday routine. So having them in your pocket when you are stressed is great, but to practice them daily is a great way to set yourself up for when those stressful situations come. You're already ready and you can handle it because you're not
Mhm.
operating on empty. So you
Yes.
don't have to do a whole yoga class or meditate for an hour, but you can spend 5 minutes a day doing some deep
Mhm.
breathing, getting outside, getting in the sun, grounding. Take off your socks and shoes and stand on the ground, the actual ground. That can help. Doing a short yoga flow, so just a couple of stretches, find a, 3 or 5 minute video on YouTube to follow. Praying, if you, are religious, if you believe in a higher power, listening to calming music and just breathing and relaxing, closing your eyes, just some things that you can do in like 2 to 5 minutes.
Yeah. And I think just like with that and the therapist thing, I don't think by the time something's broken and you're trying to fix it, that's a problem. Do maintenance, stay on top of your health, just like, your consistency, like with your exercise and things like that. Like try to do, like you said, you don't have to commit a big chunk of time to it, but like if you foam roll, for 5 minutes, that can prevent like a major injury down the road. Think of it like that. Like that constant upkeep will prevent a lot of big catastrophic things from happening. And so our second to last tip is, staying fit and healthy. So we preach balanced bodybuilding radio, balanced nutrition, regular activity, moving your body is going to help you fight stress. You get those endorphins. It's a chemical that's released when you are exercising. It physically will make you feel good. So, making sure that is, it cracks me up. We have a quote here about Legally Blonde where she's like, exercise gives you endorphins. Endorphins make you happy, and happy people don't shoot their husbands. They just don't. I love that movie.
It's true though. Really good quote.
But yeah, it's truth, right? So, yeah, because the person on trial was a group exercise instructor.
Yeah. She's like, it just doesn't make sense. People who work out are happy. So working out could be a great stress reliever too.
Absolutely.
If you are feeling stress from work or stress from a relationship, if you're just mad at things, going into the gym and just working hard, getting your heart rate up, it releases that stress. Doing that cardio, that sweat, it really does help release that stress. So,
or be like Lee Marie, and when you're mad, just go lift a bunch of weight and hit new PRs on Monday.
It was PR when I'm mad. So our last tip is get a good night's rest. So enough good quality sleep gives your body time to recover from stressful events, and it sets you up to fight the new challenges. So super important to be well rested. Again, with that running on empty, you don't want to be running on empty. And so sometimes the answer really is just go to sleep if you're stressing with something. So try to set up your sleep routine, your nighttime routine to help you relax, help shut off that brain, maybe shut off the screen, before, maybe don't be laying in bed looking at the screen. That might actually cause more stress, but try to set something up where you're just listening to music or reading a book or something right before bed. That's going to help you set yourself up for a good night's rest.
Absolutely. Well, I think this was a short and sweet episode. Hopefully everybody got some good nuggets from it.
Absolutely. So let us know what tips you're going to start practicing. If you learned anything from this episode, shoot us a message at Balanced Bodybuilding Radio on Instagram, or if you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment below, and we will see you next week for another episode.
Thanks for listening.